Now, as Michigan Representative Debbie Dingell, so great to have you here on this Saturday morning. Congresswoman, did this hearing convince you even more that we need an impeachment inquiry?
Well, I think that it was in front of the Judiciary Committee, and I think, for me, the impeachment inquiry has begun, and this is part of trying to get to the facts. I think that was one of the most arrogant days of watching a hearing when I got home that night that I have ever seen, and it's very disturbing, and I'm someone that hopes that they will hold him in contempt of Congress.
And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi reportedly said during a private meeting that she would have held Lewandowski in contempt right then and there. Do you agree? Do you want to see him held in contempt?
Well, I think he begged it to happen. You know, people are so focused on that they didn't even pay attention to some of the things that were said, like at the end of the hearing, where he admitted he had no responsibility to tell the media the truth. So why are media outlets paying him to go on air when he's saying he's not going to tell you the truth? I found it very disconcerting, and one of the patterns that I'm deeply concerned about what I'm watching right now happening in the executive branch.
I wanted to take a listen to something that Speaker Pelosi said, and while she isn't moving her stance on impeachment, she is now discussing another way to hold the president accountable. Let's take a look.
Our founders could never suspect that a president would be so abusive of the Constitution of the United States, that the separation of powers would be irrelevant to him, and that he would continue, any president would continue to withhold facts. I do think that we will have to pass some laws that will have clarity for future presidents. The president should be indicted if he's committed a wrongdoing.
Is this something you would support, and how soon could we see the ball start to roll with this?
I think we really have to look at a number of things. I think, quite frankly, everybody's stunned at some of the things that we have witnessed in the last 3 years. I mean, there's so many, from no one's ever used their own property and made money off of the government. No one has ever just not feel that they're accountable to the Congress. He is tearing this country apart in ways that is just absolutely unbelievable. Foreign policy has never, ever been a partisan issue. We are Americans once you left our borders. And to see what's happening now in terms of even the whistleblower this week. So we are going to have to look to how we're going to ensure the things we've witnessed in the last 3 years, we're going to get balance back to our country and ensure that there is a balance of power between the three branches of government.
And Congresswoman Dingell, I want to get back to that whistleblower note there, because the White House and Congress, with the Trump administration, they're trying to keep this under wraps, and NBC News has not confirmed any details beyond the fact that the complaint involved a phone call. But according to the Wall Street Journal, the president repeatedly pressured the president of Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden's son. What concerns do you have over all of this?
Well, first of all, it's a whistleblower that the Inspector General investigated the case and said it's an urgent matter. I think we have to be very careful. I think we have to get the facts. But Inspector Generals don't make those kinds of findings willy-nilly. They were supposed to report it immediately to the Intelligence Committee. They did not. The White House determined that it didn't rise to that level. We are all hearing reports about what some of this is about. It is very clear that personal issues or political issues are being used to leverage official commitments to a foreign leader, apparently. I guess I have to even be careful there because we don't know the facts. But this is just very dangerous precedent and very, very disturbing. With Putin involved somehow in this, the president should never be going into the kinds of meetings that he has and not having somebody there and what is being said in those exchanges. I'm just worried.
And how do you think your fellow Democrats can break this impasse and get the information that they want? And what exactly can you do with this information if the reports prove accurate? I mean, how do you hold the president accountable?
You know, I was very young when Watergate happened. I was working for a Republican senator by the name of Bob Griffin. And I've gone back and read all of those Watergate times and all of those the things that happened. And the Republicans were solidly behind President Nixon until the tapes became public. And it was very clear that President Nixon had lied. And with 17 days, he was gone. I'm somebody who has always said we must meticulously gather the facts. We have to know what we're dealing with. I hate seeing the division that's dividing this country. And by the way, the Mueller report also talks about how the Russians are trying to divide us. They're being quite successful at that. But we need the facts. And when the American people get the real facts, not facts that are being tied up in all the swirling, and we're going to have to see what happens. And that's why being slow and deliberate is the right thing to do, so we have the facts.
And quickly, before you go, this is now day 6 of the United Auto Workers strike against General Motors, and both sides are still in negotiations on health care and job security, among other issues. How is this standoff affecting the people in your state?
So, I mean, people, you know, I walked the picket lines on Monday. I'm very close to the UAW. Most people know that. I'm in the halls every weekend. At the beginning of the week, people were excited. They were really fighting for something, and they're still fighting for something. I want to make that really clear. People began talking about this strike last year, immediately following General Motors' closures of those plants. I think, honestly, this strike could go on for weeks because they are fighting for job security. They're fighting for their future. And we're going to have to see where this goes. I think people are going to get worn down when you're in week 3 or 4 and you're only making $250 a week. And I'm already hearing from people who have lost their health care. It's now COBRA is there, but there are benefits that they can't get. So it's going to start to get more trying in the next week or two, but I'll be walking those picket lines again tomorrow and Monday.
Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, thank you so much for being here this morning. Great to have you.
Thank you.